Bruh.
That's funny. Let me show you what actually happened to this guy. Alright, so white helmet is the guy we want to look at. There goes one bump. Second bump. Oh, bye. There he goes. Oh, bye. Hey, idiot. Hey, what's up? This is the first video of Smooth Ops GP. Fun fact about the channel name origin story. I actually needed a team name for my IRL karting team, so we went with Smooth Ops. Smooth operations for anyone who's wondering. With that being said, I figured why not start the channel off with a karting video from last preseason. Alright, so we got the original Cartman himself on Yoshi. Hopefully this will be a little bit more cleaner than Mario Kart, but you know, this is Gran Turismo. The grid start, still social distancing. On a normal car race on this track, turn 1 would probably be hell with grid start, but we'll see. Decent launch from the line. Managed to lose only one spot, so that's not bad for me. Looking at the radar, we have one guy getting close, but not close enough. Alright, so turn 1 was a success, but turn 2, that can be just as bad, if not worse, than turn 1. And it looks like Understeer already claimed his first victims, actually. We got one guy right behind me, that same guy that bumped him off. He's not giving me bumps. I don't want no bumps, man. Oh, and it looks like P1 and P2 are sharing some bumps. We have ChrisHDesigns pulling up ahead of us, and in this situation, I'm just going to let him go. He seems like a liability, and it's only lap 1. I could easily just tuck behind him and use the slipstream to catch back up. Positions in kart racing can switch up at any time, at any moment, so we have some time to make a move. Often people think racing is just about being the fastest, but man, you also got to be smart. Observing your opponents is probably one of the most important things you could do. And as I say that, you could see ChrisHDesigns understeering into a corner. That would have sucked if I would have been on his left side. Since we paid attention to his driving early on in the race, we were able to see he was going to make a mistake. So hanging back was definitely a good idea. I'll admit, I'm not the fastest driver, and a lot of the wins I do get is because of my consistency and because I pay attention to things like that. A personal goal and a channel goal is to finally break into the A-class driver rating. I came close before, but something always happens that knocks me back down, and that's the reason why I've learned to pay close attention to drivers and bad driving. Coming into lap 3, and we have P1. Let's fast forward through some of this. Now Brazuca's catching up and understeer a bit. Too busy looking at my review. That gives him a chance to get P1. Concentration is arguably one of the hardest things of racing. At least for me it is. We're finally back in the slipstream, as you could tell from how fast I'm catching up. I'm glad they finally fixed this in the last update. We're pulling up next to him, going into turn 1, and this is one of those moments where you have to decide, what do I do? Do I go for it, or do I go defensive? We have a third guy joining the party, and you could tell this is a recipe for havoc. So close to contact, but luckily I was on that faster line, so I was able to pull up ahead of him. Luckily P3 didn't have any contact with P2, because I think all 3 of us would have been wiped out. Now at this point I started to feel some of the pressure and hit the brakes a little too hard here. But we still have one more lap left, and we have the slipstream into the next corner. Diop, he was smart though, and he took the defensive line so I wouldn't cut in. This forced me to slow down. It was a little bit unrealistic to take him on the outside in this turn. But we still have one more lap left, and anything can happen in a kart race. And just like that, oversteered. I panicked a bit when I saw Brazuca torpedoing towards me, and I tried to accelerate faster out of it, but no. And that possibly cost us the race, but we still have half a lap left, so let's see if we can still make it happen. Mistakes can still be made. I can still get P1, but I could also still get P4 or last, so it's still anyone's race. In P4 we have Clayton, and he makes an effort to catch up on his last turn, but falls a bit short on the exit. He wasn't able to catch a slipstream. And it looks like I'm not going to catch the slipstream of the two in front. All we could do now is hope for a mistake and capitalize on it. It's looking like we're going to have P3 podium for the first race, which is not bad, but I do want that win, so let's go to race 2. The qualifying lap time on our last race was good enough for P5, but this time we're starting on P9. In a kart race like this, I feel like starting position isn't all that important. And not the best pull from the line. Dropped down to last place before turn 1. This position on turn 1 does give us a good view of what to expect in the race. Now I see an opening and I'm trying to go for it, but get closed off immediately, which means I gotta go for it on this turn with this pack surrounding me. So I'll go on the wide side in order to avoid it, but still manage to get bumped. Luckily we do survive to see another turn. Spoke too soon. I can't tell if that was on purpose or not, but we still managed to keep control, so on we go. Nope, looks like SG forgot something at home. Alright, so he put in some work coming into the third lap. Our buddy Brazuca from the last race making an effort to get ahead of Free the Leaf. Oh, he gets a send. Having just witnessed that, I'm going to be extremely careful around this guy. He either doesn't care or is unaware of his surroundings. And he takes out Chris Gabby while I was saying that. Now I'm trying to tuck into the slipstream, but think twice about passing him. It's just too risky going into these turns. Clearly unaware of his surroundings, he tries to go wide but finds me there. Goes really wide but still manages to keep his position ahead of me. We skip forward a lap. Free the Leaf is still ahead of me by a little. I have the wider line, so I'm hoping to get past him on this one. Yeah, but I get a slip up. But luckily we're still in it, and like I said before, anything could happen on the last lap. Now I need to set myself up to get the best exit at this hairpin to catch Free the Leaf's slipstream. Hyder Suleman, we'll call him H-Man, he seems to go a bit wide on that last turn. That gives Free the Leaf the opportunity to get up right next to him. There goes one bump. Second bump. Oh, bye. There he goes. Oh, bye. Hey, idiot. Just some words of advice. Check the replay before you blame somebody. And just like that, we managed to secure second place. Again, not a bad finish, but we want that win. Third time's a charm though, right? Quality time stays the same, but I'm starting 8th this time. It also looks like we're in a higher ranked lobby, so it might be a bit more challenging. Luckily, I decided to go with the Racing Red instead of the Yoshi Green. Everyone knows the Racing Red is faster. Sorry, Yoshi. Alright, decent start so far. It is a pretty tight pack going into turn 1 though. We lost P9 going into that turn, but managed to come out P4. That's crazy. Turn 2's coming up and Jet Li's right on our bumper. Luckily, he didn't get close enough to hit us, and we get to keep our spot in the front pack. Karts don't do well with curves, especially in GT. That put us right in the slipstream of P2, coming into the penultimate turn of lap 1. You could see when I break the slipstream how much that affects my speed. I'm curious to see the new update and how that's going to affect the slipstream on these karts. Looks like we engaged maximum tow after we passed that start. The Mark goes for the lunge. Manages not to hit me. I spoke too soon. Still quite early in the race, but we have a good position and hopefully we can keep it. P1 steps on the curb a little bit and loses some speed because of it. Tucking back into the slipstream, We're going to try to make a move on this somewhat straight. Well, and Anil loses it and somehow luckily misses me. Oh, again.
Oh, hi, Mark.
P3 makes it to P1 because of that. And we're right behind Mark again. And can we get... Yep, another bump draft. My goal here is to get as far as possible from P3 down. The best way to do this is to work with P1 and minimize fighting for position. We need to create that gap. We barely missed getting hit by Anils. Again. Is it Anil? Anils? Usually when it comes to defending, you want to block the inside line, but because it... Oh, see, I didn't want to get in front of him to avoid that. So far so good. We've managed to keep up with the front pack, and it's the third lap, halfway through the race. We have a fourth contender approaching now, though. Other women. As Z goes for the massive lunge, and I almost lose it there. We still got slipstream though, and we're still with the front pack. That means there's more than enough time for this to either go really well or really bad. This has been a pretty tight race this whole time, and I'm not gonna lie, I still get really nervous when it comes to close battles like this as we pass Anils again. But no matter the outcome, this has been a really good race, and whatever position I come in, it was fun. The Mark oversteers into turn 1, and other woman gets P1 because of it. Not gonna lie, this really makes me miss karting in real life. Gran Turismo by no means is a direct one-to-one comparison to real life karting, but it'll do. It helps, and the competitiveness is there, so that's the good thing. I race a Briggs LO206, so definitely not a shifter kart, and it definitely does not have this much power, so it's a little different. I reach half the peace. Other woman just loses control out of nowhere. I'm not really sure what happened there. Yeah, I reach half the speed these guys do in my kart. The final lap, finally. Sitting in P1, Mark goes for the lunge, gets the top spot. I get bumped and bump Mark. Things change so quickly, but hey, I'm in the lead now, so it looks like I'm building a lead. And that's my goal right now, to pull away as far as possible and maintain that consistency to finish this off and get that win. But like I've said many times before in this video, anything could happen. Not the best exit, but I still managed to pull ahead a little bit. Slipstream is really going to play a big factor in this, but luckily there's two of them wanting it, so none of them are getting it. It's looking like we're going to get this one. Yep. Oh! Nope, still one. That was a close race. I'm really glad I was able to pull off a win. It seemed like it almost got away from me right there at the end, but we got the win, and that's the important part. I'd like to give a thanks to those who stuck through the whole video and made it to the end. You guys are the real MVPs of this race. This was my first video, and I promise as I post more, I'll get better at talking to the mic. It's a little hard to get used to, but it was fun to make, and if you liked it, then give it a like, and if you want to see more, please do subscribe, and I'll see you next time. That was a whack, but yeah, I'll have a better outro. Peace.
Tom, do you know what that was? That was a smooth operator. Smooth operation.